A few months ago, I was here in Bristol making a video about this hill, the steepest street in England. I know it doesn't look that steep on camera, but if you come here, you'd understand what I mean. If you're interested in that video, I'll leave a link on screen. But I'm here today because there's been a study, and that study concluded that Bristol is the worst major city for driving in the whole of the UK. And they didn't even consider hills. So this thing behind me isn't actually relevant to this video. Wessex Fleet did the study. They compared 25 of the largest cities in the UK for driving using 8 different categories. I'll go into detail about those categories later, but they include things like congestion and crashes. Bristol didn't actually come last for anything individual, but overall they came last. The trouble is, I don't think Bristol is that hard of a place to drive. I can think of somewhere worse, I'll tell you that place later, but I've only driven here once. So I've put a route in the sat-nav that's going to take me around the city, including as many of the difficult junctions as possible to see how hard it really is. And in case you are wondering, I'm going to be driving this. It's a 2014 Seat Leon. Now I know it says 6.3 here, but 6.3 did go to the end of February 2014. It has a 1.4 turbo petrol engine with a manual gearbox. And if you're new to the channel, I am actually a driving instructor, but my learner hat, that will be staying in the boot today. So there'll be no extra patience from drivers when I don't know where I'm going. Okay, so I'm starting at Vale Street. I've just driven up the hill and now I'm gonna go down it, but I can't really see well, what's in front of me because the hill's too steep. Luckily there's posts either side, I can see the road now. And I am going to just use the brake down this hill. It doesn't come across on camera how steep this is. I know, when I look at it myself, it looks like a small mound, like, you know, just a small hill, but you really feel yourself leaning in your seat as you go down it, and that bit of hill there is the worst, and I'm afraid I'm going to scrape the bottom of my car. I am coasting all the way down here because to lift the clutch up will actually go quicker than I want to go. Minimum speed with the clutch up in this car is 4. That looks like a jump. That does no. I haven't actually been down this hill yet. I've been up it a few times, but that is quite scary. Okay, it wants me to go left. Now that's going to be the difficult way without scraping my car. So I'm actually going to go to the right now so that I can then go left. That noise is the brakes. Oh, I can't go right. That's just going to scrape my car. I'm going to have to just carry on right here and let the sat-nav reroute. I can see it's going to do it really badly. I'm coming out on the wrong side of the road, but the parking sensors are going off because the road is so high in front of me, it thinks it's a wall. But I'm coming out carefully on the wrong side of the road. Anyone coming is going to need to stop and let me finish here, because if I go straight out of there, I'm just scraping the underside of my car. I got out of there, good, done. Finally, I feel I can come off the clutch and let it go fast enough to have the clutch. Oh look, I'm off the first gear. Look, I'm not pressing the gas, but even with the engine braking in first gear, without the brake, it wants to rush up. It's like I'm pressing the gas pedal. Oh, it's rerouted, good. Wants me to go left here. That is a steep street. I worry about the people who live there. So this area wasn't actually included in the study. The categories did not include how challenging the hills were. It wants me to go straight here, so I just need to give way. I mean, even this is quite a steep hill. It's making my car struggle a bit. I'm having to ride the clutch to check it's safe before I continue, in case anyone was coming. And I did pull out of Vale Street, which is the steep street, on the wrong side of the road there. I should imagine you wouldn't fail your test if you did that, if it's included in the test route, because there's a reason why you're doing it, and you're doing it safely and carefully. And to not do it would damage the car. Having to ride the clutch a little bit again there, just to go slow enough to see if anyone's coming, because the parked cars mean I can't see. It really is hilly here. Nothing like Vale Street, but still more steep than I'm used to. This is about as steep as it gets in my town, Colchester. Give it some revs, get up the hill, getting to the main road where I'm going to have to turn right. This looks fun because it looks like a very busy road. Right turn. Oh, it's not so bad actually. Oh, easy peasy. Who would have thought? And that is a bus lane there, so I've got to avoid that. There's a lot of bus lanes around here, so I need to be careful. And the sat nav is saying straight. I can see an arrow on the floor saying this lane to go straight, and an arrow on the left lane for left only, so I know I need this lane. If there's any boring bits in this video where I'm not saying anything, I'll just speed it up. Like now, for example, I'm waiting at traffic lights. Couple of yellow box junctions ahead. Can clear those. One on the left here. Is that a bus lane again? I believe it's a 30 limit. These kinds of roads are quickly becoming 20 in many areas, so I need to be careful. Ignoring the lights now. Trying to keep it within the 30 limit. And the sat nav, I've got the sound off on the sat nav so it doesn't keep interrupting me. Hopefully I don't miss any turns. Telling me to go straight. It's 3:27 in the afternoon. I believe the date is the 7th of February. It is a school day. So it's going to be the school rush hour, so it's not going to be that quiet. Sat-nav is telling me I need the middle lane. There's only one lane I can use at the moment. The other lane is a bus lane. And we have our first roundabout coming up soon. So road markings say I can now change lane. So I am. And that's the middle lane to go ahead. Second exit from this roundabout. I did coast all the way down Vale Street, and I know that's going to upset some people, but coasting doesn't matter when you're doing 3 or 4 or 5 miles per hour. The reason why you don't want to coast is because you have less control of the car. You don't have the ability to accelerate. But I really didn't want to accelerate. Also, you can overheat the brakes. But when you're going that slowly, you're not going to overheat the brakes. You don't want to coast down a hill if you're doing 30, 40, 50 miles per hour and use the brake, because then it's just the brake doing all the work and not the engine keeping you slow. And that'll get the brakes hot and make them less effective. You need to concentrate now. So where am I going? That's a good spiral roundabout there. The middle lane automatically became the left lane. Don't want to take this exit. I think it's actually the third exit, which is this one here. No need to signal, and another red traffic light. A lot of waiting. That's actually something I found last time I was here. I waited a lot, but it wasn't actually that hard. Lots of traffic lights. Another red light. And the sat-nav says I'm going off to the left at the next set of lights where the white Audi TT is. Going back to Vale Street, the reason why I was coasting is because I didn't feel comfortable lifting the clutch and making the car go much faster or having a minimum speed to the car. Probably could have signalled there to help those pedestrians, although I was in a lane that was dedicated for turning left. Not that important though, and I believe it is still a 30, so I'll get up to 30. At the roundabout, I don't know where I'm going because the sat-nav is not telling me. The next waypoint is just before the roundabout. I think it's left, and it won't let me press continue until I pass this waypoint. So I'm going to go left. So mirror signal left. Looks like I need to go left. Nice easy roundabout, nice and clear. Zebra crossing was clear, zebra crossing on the exit is clear, 2 lanes. Now it's allowing me to continue to the next waypoint. Got another bus lane, so signalling and getting in front of this car. And I need to go right at what looks like a fairly decent sized roundabout, red light now. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Exit number 4 on the roundabout. Another red light. I think this is the most red lights I've seen in a row from memory. So right at this roundabout, 4th exit, I think. It is congested. This city does seem busy. I think the population as of 2019, when I checked, was 467,000 from memory. I might be wrong. So it's a fairly sizable city, nearly 500,000. I'm going to cancel my signal now because I don't actually think it's helping anyone at the moment. And I may need to change to the left lane soon, ignoring the lights now. Oh, another nice spiral roundabout that's actually working, and another red light. And I think I need the left lane. I think there's 2 lanes here. There's no road markings. Might just be a wide road, but I've gone next to this Nissan Micra anyway. Looks like there's 2 lanes on the exit as well, and the sat nav is saying there's 2 lanes. So the spiral roundabout seemed to work well here. And that's what I remember. When I was last here, I found driving fairly simple. If you follow the signs and road markings, I could get where I needed to go. The road markings are faded though in some places, which isn't good. And apparently 9.5% of the roads in Bristol need repairing. I don't know what they mean by repairing, just one pothole or the whole thing resurfacing. Oh, that says left only this lane. So I need to change to the right lane because I'm not going left until another 1.2 miles. Luckily I could change lane. I guess that's why most people were going in the right lane there, because they knew they needed the right lane later. I didn't know that. Ignoring the lights now. Cyclist up ahead. Looks like an electric bike. I can always tell because the legs aren't moving much, but they're going quite quickly. It's an odd, it looks odd. It still looks odd to this day, even though they've been around for a while now. You see them pedaling slowly, but zipping up the road. Another mile still. Try and give the cyclist enough room to fall off, but I've got a red light just after them. I don't think it's really worth trying to get past them because I'll just be braking next to them. Ignoring the lights now. Oh good, you're going that way, so I don't have to concern myself with passing you soon. And 30 mile per hour, I still believe. There is a low emission zone in Bristol. I think I am actually in it. It's £9 a day for a car. £100 a day if you're a bus, coach, or a lorry over 3.5 tonne. But you don't have to pay if you're a petrol car that's Euro 4 or more recent than that, or a diesel car that's Euro 6 or more recent. This car is Euro 5 petrol, so I'm okay, I don't have to pay. So those lights might change, going to ignore them now. That way I won't have to hammer on the brakes hard. Apparently the roads in Bristol are bad, but they seem better than Colchester, the town where I'm from. There's so many holes in the road in Colchester at the moment that you can use them to play golf. It's like the surface of the moon. This actually seems okay. Could do with some more paint for the lines. And roundabout. Oh, looks like an interesting looking roundabout. 20 in that road on the left, but it's not 20 here. And another red light. So I'm going to take this left branch, southwest. Looks quite pretty. Some rolling hills over there and some trees. 40 mph speed limit. And I have my own lane. Do I need to change lane? I think I need to stay left here. Looks like it. What lane do I need when I branch to the left though? There's a few lanes and I think I need the right lane. Yeah, I think so. This one here. Looking at the sat nav, 30 mph again. And they have the give way for me, which is odd because it's a roundabout. It's busy traffic though, so I'm gonna let one go. That's the way I do it. If there's a queue, if I'm in a queue and there's another road joining the road I'm in and that's a queue, I always let one go and then I'll go. Aha, I think I need to actually branch round to the right here. I only just realised that. Traffic light warning signs, some traffic lights soon. They are green and I need to branch to the right again, ignoring the lights now. Can't read what that says on the road. I think it says Portshead. 20 mph, there we go. I knew there would be one of these. So there's a roundabout here apparently, there it is, but they give way to me again. They've got the give way line and this is my exit here, still 20. Oh no, I'm going to upset some people doing 20, aren't I? They're all going to be behind me, wanting to get past, but there goes the cruise control so that I don't go over the limit, especially as I am recording my speedometer. I've got to be extra careful. Putting how fast I'm driving on the internet is a risky business because you can make an error quite easily. So, yep, still 20. Oh, 21, whoopsie daisies. That was the cruise control's fault, I blame it on that. The end is nigh, it's in sight, 30. Finally, I can drive at what feels like a more normal speed and not have that car getting so angry behind me. .4 miles and then I've got to bend to the right. This looks fairly easy and boring, so I'll probably fast forward this bit. Another 20 zone. And this is the end of the road. I'm going right here. I only just realised it was the end of the road, I couldn't see. Oh, Clifton Suspension Bridge, £1 toll. I'm about to do that bridge and I don't know how to pay that toll. I'll figure that out later. So I believe I am going over that bridge. So this whole bit's a 20 zone. And this is actually proving to be quite challenging because, oh, there is a gap. Thought I'd be here for quite a while. Toll, £1, contactless and bridge cards only accepted. Aha. I do know about this bridge. Isambard Kingdom Brunel. So I've got to put a card to get through, or use my card. Didn't know that. Famous bridge though, seen it loads of times. Know of the engineer, didn't know him personally, he wasn't my old pal or anything. I think I'm a bit young for him. But it's quite a beautiful bridge. very recognisable. But I wasn't expecting to have to pay, I didn't know that. Hopefully I can reach. Got it. Now you can let me go. Good. And now I've got to give way. Looks like I'm before them, still 20. That's a narrow bridge. Didn't know it was this narrow. Seem to have knocked my pedal cam in trying to pay for the toll. Oh, nice view either side. Yeah, quite high. It's quite a drop down there. Very narrow. I guess you can't take, I think there was a sign saying 4 tons maximum earlier. I don't need to concern myself with such signs driving a car though. Got to go left soon. Still 20 I believe with speed bumps. Not bad, these speed bumps. Can take them at, actually, last one at 20 was fine, but that one was a bit harsh. Probably should have slowed down a little bit. Going left here. Still 20. Aha, give way. I'm not going to bother signalling because it is just basically straight. That wasn't even on the sat-nav. So when you're following the sat-nav, it is important to always still be following road signs and markings. Don't take your brain out and put the sat-nav in. That's what I often tell people. Use the sat-nav as a guide and still use your brain. Just trying to keep it within the 20 mile per hour limit here. I'm having to use quite a bit of brake because a bit of a slope. Might need to go down the second gear if I keep using this brake. It keeps going up. Actually, I think that's the slope done now. It's so difficult to keep it at 20 miles an hour. Braking the whole way. Feels so wrong. There you go. Hopefully the cruise control can help me now, as it's not so much of a hill. Very beautiful city. Bath, that's a place I've been to also that's close to here. That's a nice city too. And left at the end of this road. And I believe it is 30 now. I'm pretty sure I saw a 30 sign. I think. Did I? Can't remember now. I might have missed it. Yeah, it is. I think I saw it, then forgot I saw it. Then I remembered. I was like, did I? More hills. I'm going to go to second because I'm having to use the brake so much. There we go. Second seems nice because in second gear I'm not having to brake all the way down this hill. I'm using the gear to keep me slow. Now this is where coasting would be bad, where I'd be just using the brake to keep the speed down. The wheels are spinning quickly, therefore the brakes are getting hot. When the wheels are spinning slowly, the brakes won't ever get hot. You're doing 5 miles an hour, you can brake all day down a really steep hill. They're not going to get hot. Unless, I don't know what sort of hill you'll need to make them hot like that. Wow, that is, I've come down a long way. I can see why now I've needed the low gear and I've having to be using the brake so much because I've just been on the Clifton suspension bridge and yeah, that's all the way up there. I don't know if you can see it on camera at the moment. Quite high. Ignore the lights. Looks like I've got a bend to the left, turn left. No need to signal. 40 mile per hour limit. I quite like this this city actually. It's pretty. Bit busy. Too many traffic lights, but that makes driving easier. But then just a bit boring because you're just stopping all the time instead of making your own decisions. Uh-oh, what lane do I need? Sat-nav's not telling me again because I've got a waypoint. Until I get past the waypoint, it won't tell me what to do after that waypoint. I'm gonna guess left. I think it's left. This is a bit of a guess though. I'm going a bit below the speed limit now because I'm not sure which way to go and I don't know what's around this bend. You have arrived at the waypoint. I'm having to go left now. Hopefully it's the correct way. Did I get it right? Looks like I did. 30 mile per hour limit now, city centre for this lane. Southwest for the other lane. And the sat-nav's not telling me which one I'm going to need. But I am going right at a roundabout in 0.6 of a mile. I don't know if I should go into the right lane or not. I think I'll stay here for now because 0.6 of a mile is quite far at this speed. And I'm guessing the right lane might branch before I actually get to the roundabout. I'm guessing I don't need that lane. And looking at the sat-nav, I think that might be the case. No real road markings here. Got something. Very faded. It is 3 lanes across, I can see that now. I couldn't see that initially, can't see it again, but I'm assuming it's still 3 lanes. And there we go, look, the right lane branches to the right long before we get to the roundabout. Still got half a mile to the roundabout. 30 miles per hour still, I believe. Ignoring the lights now. They've got the give way. Yeah, that van on my right there. And that looks like a parked van, so I'm going to make my way gently over to the right. Cars are really far behind at the moment, so I didn't need a signal. And back to the left lane. Now I've passed the van. Some more lights. Is that a bus? No, it's a bus stop. Ignore them now. Yep, not a bus lane, but another car that's parked. It's odd. It's odd when you drive in cities and you have a lane and that lane has parked cars. I mean, you can't use the lane. I'm not going to go in and out of there. I'll stay in this lane now. It'll be a bit silly going in and out of that lane with all those parked cars there. Roundabout going ahead. I think it's exit 2. I can actually see the arrows from here. I know you won't be able to see them on camera, but it's the left lane to go ahead. Everything looks so much more smaller on the camera, harder to see, so I have to zoom in on things sometimes. So it's green light for me, traffic light controlled junction again. So many traffic lights, bends round to the right, another set of traffic lights, ignoring them now. And I'll signal left to leave. So I think that white car isn't under traffic lights, they're actually making a decision, so my signal is helping them. And another 20 zone. This time it's slightly uphill, so it should be easier to keep it within 20 and just use the cruise control. Oh, got to go left soon, here. So mirror signal left. I think I'm going to a car park. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I included a multi-storey car park on the route, and I think I must be getting close to that, where I can reset the cameras, because I don't like running for too long. Roundabout, still 20, unless I've missed a sign. It does happen. There's a lot of things to look at, a lot of signs to take in, it's easy to miss one. So straight at this mini roundabout. There's a reminder for 20 up there, so it confirms it. It is still 20. Don't need a signal to leave a mini roundabout. Really not time. It's going a bit slow here because these scooters, if they fall off, I don't want to hurt them. And I've got to give way to the oncoming car. That's what that sign means. And I've got the give way markings on the road. Yeah, that is the next stop is the car park. And the road just bends here. It looks two-way. Of course it's two-way. I just saw a car come past me. Oh, this is interesting because it's another. Okay, I didn't see that sign. I have priority over the car ahead. No car there though. It just suddenly went narrow, and I was thinking, what's going on with no road markings or warnings? But I didn't see the sign off to the top right-hand corner of my windscreen. Wasn't looking up there, and I've got to go left soon. Where have I got to go left? Down into first gear. Ignoring those lights now. Just this bend, is it? Can I? Ah, there's the car park. Easy. How am I going to get out of here though? Because, traffic lights, of course. Oh, that's a difficult turn. Just clutch down and go slower there. And get a ticket. Go down all the way. There we go. Come on. Make me stretch for longer than I need to stretch for. And no entry ahead, so I've got to go left. Big steer to get around that post without hitting that car. I wouldn't park there. Where that car's parked, he's asking, or she, they are asking for trouble. Because I'm just about to make it round there without hitting the car. So exit is left, parking is down there, or I guess I can go around here. There's parking spaces around here, so I will. And I'll reverse into this space. Yep, telling the red Mini behind me that I want to park, and they're being nice and patient, giving me time. I'll pop it in this space and I'll reset the cameras. Right, be back with you in like not very long. There was a tiny bit of footage missing from the last run, and that's because the camera I'm looking at did its thing and it stops recording after a certain amount of time, which is why I have to plan stops when I do my longer drives so I could turn the cameras off and turn them on again. But it didn't matter because it happened where it was boring. I could pull over quite quickly, turn everything off, turn everything back on again and get going. Now, I'm in the multi-storey car park because I wanted to include a multi-storey car park in this video, but it was £2.50 just to come in here and reset the cameras. Sometimes they let you off if you just come in and then go out straight away. It's quite a lot of money really, £2.50 for a few minutes. Minimum stay, 1 hour. Now I was just about to go, but there is a lady about to walk in front of me, so I will wait for her. And I'm going to start this second run, which is actually kind of the third run because I had to stop one more time than I was expecting. Hopefully this will get me to the end now. I think it's about 20 minutes or something. So I'll turn the lights on so that you can see the dials. And it's a little bit dark out there anyway. Tickets ready. I do hate stretching for these things, and I have like really long monkey arms. I do feel for people who are smaller than me. I'm about average height, but the long arms should help. This is narrow. Huh? Oh, good. I didn't need to use the ticket. Number plate cameras and a green light again. Oh, I got the green light coming in and going out. This did confuse me a little bit when I was coming because I saw the other side of the road was blocked, but I forgot that I'd just been past a temporary traffic light. And I was thinking, how on earth am I going to get out of here? And the sat-nav doesn't know where I am. So I'm going to play it safe and continue straight. Aha, it's found me. And I've got to give way to the oncoming car. So going out the same way I came in. Can't see anyone coming, so I'm going to get going through this narrow bit. Must remind myself it's only 20. I've been driving for over 18 years now. 2004 I passed my test. I think it wanted me to go up there. Did it? I'm not sure. The sat-nav isn't working very well at the moment. No, it didn't, or it did, I don't know. It keeps spinning. It does that sometimes. And it wants me to go and do a U-E, or a U-turn, on this mini roundabout, which you should not do, really, because it's dangerous. But when it's quiet like now, and you do it really slowly, it doesn't matter too much because people can see what you're doing. Like that. So that's a safe way to do a U-turn on a mini roundabout. It's not illegal, it's just not a good idea. It's dangerous if you do it really quickly and take people by surprise when they don't think you're going to go around, they think you're just turning right. So we've got to wait here and give way. Nearly was committed there, but I had just about enough time, so I did give way. For the line, that is, not the narrow bit. The narrow bit doesn't start till further up, but the sign counts for the line, technically. So let's try not to miss my turn this time. I think it probably was my fault. I thought I had longer on the road before my next turn, so I wasn't paying attention to the sat nav. I have priority again. Aha, this probably took my attention. I was looking at this narrow bit instead of my road. And I've got to go right into here, one-way street. Very odd looking. And then right again. Closed junction, can't see into there, so very slow. And then left. Surely the sat-nav could have found a better way than this. Go back out onto the main road. But I don't know. I don't know the area. I haven't got a clue. I've never been here before. I've been to Bristol once from memory, and that was to make that video about the steep hill. I guess this is doing 20 here. This is fine. I was going to say I guess this is 20, but this is where it feels normal doing this speed. No right turn, so I've got to go left, and the sat nav is telling me to go left. And now I guess I need to wait for someone to let me out, so I need to do the whole puppy dog eyes. Not very good at that. I can't just end up glaring at people and freaking them out. Please. Don't like the stop-start system in this car. I thought he was going to give way to me, but he didn't. Honestly? Nobody? Where are your manners? Doesn't make any difference to you, just one car, come on. What, one car? If you don't give way to me, I'm sitting here all day. I think if I creep a bit more, maybe they'll see me. Maybe I'm just not in there. Aha! Man in orange clothes, thank you. Gave me the nod. Can't remember what I was saying. I think I was saying something before I started. Oh yeah, the stop-start system doesn't work well in this car. I'll use it in a car where it works. In this car it doesn't work well because it stalls. And no, I don't mean it turns itself off. When the engine starts up, and it's been like it since new, I've had this car for 196,000 miles now, 314. It's been like it's from the start. When the engine turns on, it needs a moment to get strength. If you try and move away straight away, it just conks out unless you give 3,000 RPM, which I don't want to do that because it burns my clutch. So I just turn the system off. I turn it on if I'm waiting for a long time at lights. So I might just do that then to rest it, save a bit of fuel. But for stop-start traffic, like I am now, where I keep using neutral because I don't like holding the clutch down. I don't want the engine turning off and on all the time. My learner drivers though, I leave the stop-start system on when they're driving because it doesn't affect them. They're not fast enough. It really is just a moment. Once the engine kicks into life, probably about a second, and then you can move. And a new driver, it takes them a couple of seconds anyway, so it's not an issue. But if you're experienced at driving, you sort of do everything at the same time, clutch down into gear, gas, and lift all at the same time, it doesn't work. It's the only car I've had where I've had that problem. Not the only car I've owned, but the only car I've driven. Yeah, that left lane is left only. I can see it. I don't think you can see it on camera, but I just saw the arrow there. So I know I need this right lane. And there's a roundabout coming up. I really don't know what the problem is. These roads are fine. They're actually some of the better quality roads I have been on for a while. Road markings are poor in some places, they've faded away, but there's no holes. This looks like a road, not like Mars, like craters everywhere. So roundabout in 0.2 miles. And I've got to go right, and it looks like the third exit. There's lots of roads coming off it. I think it's just 2 exits, and each exit has many roads. So you see, yeah, neutral, and I rest my left leg. I don't like holding the clutch down, leaving it in gear for long periods of time. I'll get my learners to do that when they're starting out because it's easier. But then as they get more experienced, I'll encourage them to use neutral more. It's a nicer way to drive a manual car. It's also better for the clutch, better for the release bearing of the clutch, not to be holding it down all the time. I have a video all about clutch wear. I'll link to it on screen if you're interested. 20 mile per hour. Hopefully I haven't been going over the 20 limit. It's so easy to forget. That's what I was trying to say earlier. I don't know if I did say it, but you've been driving for 18 years and 30's been your normal speed, and then suddenly, and this is very sudden, this is last year, rarely ever see a 20. Suddenly you're doing 20 often. It goes against your normal senses. So I'm ignoring the lights. See if it's another beautiful spiral roundabout where the lane actually takes you where you need to go and you don't have to keep changing lane. Or like junction 28 on the M25, that is one of the worst spiral roundabouts. You have 2 lanes that suddenly become 1 with no warning, ignoring the lights. Right, so can I take the exit? I can. There we go. Oh, I do need to change lane. Bit late, but I could. But can that be helped? Were the road markings clear? And now it's 30. And it says I need to go right soon. I'm not sure if this right lane is right at these lights or later. So I've gone to the middle lane, sort of playing it safe, because I can get back to the right lane if I need to soon. It's not too busy next to me. Ignoring the lights, yeah, I do need that right lane. So I'm going to indicate, I'm going to slow down a little bit, let this Mini pass, and hope this BMW lets me in. And are they? You going to? Yes, thank you. You weren't for a moment there, were you? But you changed your mind. Thank you very much. I think I've got the lane I need, I hope. Because I've just done this for nothing otherwise. Yeah, all those traffic lights have ahead arrows. I know there's a right turn soon, but I don't know when. Because I'm in the right lane now, but this right lane might branch to the right before I get to my right turn. When you know the area, it's a lot easier to drive. Now I need to leave this junction clear. There's a cycle lane, so I need to stop before that and wait until I can get past it. It's not a junction. What am I talking? Is it a junction? Yeah, it is a junction. Until I get past the pedestrian crossings. The junction's the road on the left there. And yes, I think I need this lane here. Ignore the lights now. I can get past the junction. Through traffic. I can use the lane I'm in, which is lane 5. There's 5 lanes here. And lane 4. But lane 4 says car park. And I'm not going to a car park. So I guess I'm in the correct lane. Cabot Circus. That was the other car park I was thinking of parking in. Probably should have done that one. Probably would have saved myself a couple of quid. And I've got to go back on myself here. Hopefully I'm allowed to. Yeah, it looks like you just go round, literally just a U-turn, and make my way to this lane here, lane 2. Ignore the lights now because I have a feeling I'll have to go left, looking at the sat-nav. Good. I didn't go to the far left lane just in case I was wrong and I needed to go back to the right lane. And I think I'll go to the left lane now. 30 miles per hour, I think, ignoring the lights. Definitely good with this box junction. Car pulling out, I'll just slow down and help them a little bit. If I slow down now, it'll be a non-issue. That's how I like things to be. And the road got to go left soon. Ignore the lights now. Here we go, this one. Signal, take this little slip road. And I've got to go left again, so into the left lane. It's not a bus lane, it's just a bus stop. How long's my camera been recording? Should be okay for a little bit longer. Ignore the lights and indicate left now to let these pedestrians know I'm coming. Ignore these lights, can't go right because that's for buses. Checking my mirrors and going around these parked cars. And this is the waypoint. I think this might be the penultimate waypoint. The next one, yes, is Sainsbury's. That's my final destination, 9 minutes. Hopefully the camera will last. We'll see. If I've got somewhere to pull over, I will, and I'll start and stop them again. 2 lanes here. I'm choosing the left lane because I think they both go the same way. And it was the more empty one, but this car, I think they might use some of my half of the road, and they did a bit, so I just stayed back to play it safe. Oh, it looks like I'm going to have to go right soon. I will need that right lane. Let's see what I can do. I've got a Vauxhall behind, and it looks like they're giving way. Thank you very much. I had plenty of time though, so if they didn't, the next one hopefully would. Ignore the lights now. 30 limit, I hope, because I'm doing 25. And I can see a 20 up ahead, big sign, so I guess that does mean this is 30, but that is that road. I'm not going down there, so good, I'm still 30. I'm bending to the right, that's why I needed this right lane. Right, second gear now, got to give way, and there is a moped coming. No need to signal, very clear I am turning right, and straight into the left lane, because I know I'm going left soon. And it looks like, judging by the sign, there is a bus lane coming up. That's straight ahead. So I'm branching to the left. Aha, yeah, because I'm branching to the left, I'm not using that bus lane. Ignore the lights now. I thought it meant there was a bus lane round here somewhere. 30 limit, oh, there is as well. Plenty of time to deal with that though. And it looks like a fairly sizable roundabout. This is an interesting building. It's like a V. Kind of like an arrowhead. Already ignoring those lights. And what lane do I need? M32 or A4? Well, it looks like I'm going right at the roundabout, so I'm going to play it safe and stick to the right. Wait at these traffic lights again. Traffic light controlled roundabout, so simple. Just stop and wait. The spiral systems here seem to work well. 7 minutes until my destination. And you may think, why aren't I signalling right when I'm going right at a roundabout? I'm going round a very big roundabout. Traffic light controlled, it's pretty much not a roundabout. It's lanes with traffic lights. So unless I'm changing lane, I don't think it's sensible to signal. It doesn't help anyone. The signal helps people entering the roundabout. Now, as it's traffic light controlled, I need to think now. Oh, I've just gone into that lane inadvertently. I'll go back. Doesn't matter, I can use both, but I will get back here and then wait at these lights. I lost my train of thought about what I was saying there. But yeah, I should have changed to the left lane myself. Sometimes it spirals for you, other times you have to change lane. That one I had to change lane. Green for me now. I think I was talking about signalling on roundabouts. Like now, I could signal left to leave, but it's not helping anyone. The people who are entering the roundabout have traffic lights. They're not making the decision to go. The signal is to help people make the decision whether or not they should go. If the traffic lights are telling them when to go, the signal doesn't help. The signal is really for changing lane to help people around you know what you're doing. 30 limit, I think. 5 minutes away now. I did a video in Erith at the test centre there because it had the worst pass rate from April 21 to March 22. I would say Erith is more challenging to drive than here. But then Erith is I think they call it a suburb. Is that what you call it? A suburb of London? It's a part of London, part of Greater London, as opposed to a city in itself. And this study looked at the 25 largest cities. I guess they include London, included London, because that is the largest city. But it didn't list on the top 5 or top 10 or bottom 10. So it must have been somewhere in the middle. And I guess it's London as a whole instead of breaking it down into each individual suburb, or I don't know what they call them. I think it's suburb. District, maybe. Borough. I think it's borough. I don't know. .40 limit coming up, but I'm only 0.9 of a mile from my final destination. Oh, the fumes from the car in front aren't nice. I think it's burning a lot of oil. It shouldn't be like that. I'm struggling to breathe. So I've got a cyclist, must leave them enough room to fall off their bike, which I can do, just like so. So I timed passing them at a good time. Going ahead, second exit of the roundabout, looks clear. Keeping it in my lane, not straight lining the roundabout, so others have room to go around. Going to ignore the lights now, and I'm pretty sure I don't need this lane, so I'm going to try and get to middle lane. Yep, car's waiting for me. Thank you very much. Watch what is about to happen. All lanes say I can go ahead. Lanes 2 and 3 say they're for the A4, but I don't know if Sainsbury's is off of the A4. I don't know the names of the roads I'm about to use. I just know from the sat-nav I'm going ahead. And then we have another roundabout. Came up a little bit sooner than I was thinking, actually. I think I need this lane anyway. Ahead, it's 3 lanes. I can guess the middle if there's no arrows telling me. And as I enter the roundabout, lanes 2 and 3 suddenly have right-only arrows. This information would have been helpful on my approach to the roundabout. Simple things like this that cost no extra money could make our roads safer. Aha! Oh, I think I'm in the wrong lane. I actually needed, so I'm going to have to go here then. There we go. And that's what happens, you see. Whenever I go somewhere, I'll get the wrong lane once or twice. I don't know how many times, but it happens. What's it say now? Sandy Park, but if I get the right lane, hopefully I can turn around and get to Sainsbury's. So 3 lanes, and on that occasion it was actually the left lane to go ahead. And it wasn't safe for me to suddenly change lanes, so I just go the wrong way. Looks like I can do a U-turn up here. I'm not sure how though, it doesn't look like a roundabout. And I've found some traffic. This is why it's important, if you're going somewhere, not to go on Google or whatever it is you use. See how long it's going to take you to get there and leave that much time. If you don't know the area, you've got to expect it to take you longer. Also, if it's a long way away, you're probably going to need a break. You're probably going to need the loo or some food, some refreshments. And when you go a long way, often traffic changes. So it might be saying it's going to be 2.5 hours or 3 hours, but the traffic gets worse. Sometimes it does get better. Can go both ways. The way I do it is for every 3 hours, I leave an extra half an hour. Unfortunately, that's all the footage I got. The camera stopped recording, as it does after a certain number of minutes. Not normally a problem for me because I tend to do shorter clips and put them together, but with this style of video, it needed to be recording for a long time. But it doesn't matter, nothing really happened. The sat-nav rerouted and I was stuck in traffic for 5 minutes. I didn't go very far, it was just busy. And that is unfortunate when you end up taking the wrong exit on a roundabout and then you get stuck for ages in traffic. That does happen. You need to be prepared for it if you go somewhere you don't know. Is Bristol the worst major city for driving in the UK though? Not by my book. I don't think so. It depends what's important to you. This study takes into account 8 different categories, like parking spaces and EV charging points. When someone asks me what's the worst place to drive, I'm going to be thinking, what's the most challenging? What's the most stressful or the most difficult? Whereas this study covers many other things. I think Brighton is the most challenging place I've ever driven. And it was because it felt difficult to drive there without being fined for something. I didn't get a fine, but I didn't find it easy to navigate the city without getting into trouble. And it was quite busy and I got quite a bit of harassment from other road users, particularly when I was trying to leave a yellow box junction clear. Maybe I'll go to Brighton and do a video there later if this video does well. If this is the sort of video you also like watching, I'll see how well it does. I'm going to look at the study now to see how Wessex Fleet came to the conclusion that Bristol is the worst place for driving. So 8 categories. First one, congestion. Bristol was 26%. The worst, Edinburgh, 35%, which equates to 80 hours in traffic throughout 2021. I don't know what it means by 80 hours. Does it mean 80 hours on average per person? I'm not sure. And the best was Coventry, Reading and Stoke-on-Trent. They all jointly got the best at 17%, which equates to 39 hours stuck in traffic. So Bristol actually somewhere in the middle for congestion. Crashes between 2017 and 21. Bristol got 715, very high, 3rd highest. The highest was London at 1,359. And that was followed by Brighton and Hove at 734. The least number of crashes was Stoke-on-Trent at 107. Cars per public parking space in the city. So how many cars are there per parking space? Bristol, 14.9. Didn't do too badly. The worst was Leeds at 27.3 cars per parking space, and the best was Reading at 5.2 cars per parking space. EV charging points. Now this is where the cities were far, far away from each other. Some cities have a lot more than others. And this is done by, well, per 100,000 people in the population. The worst was Stoke-on-Trent at 14, just 14 charging points per 100,000 people in the population. The best, London, Brighton and Hove and Coventry. London has 111, Brighton and Hove has 119 and Coventry has 131 per 100,000 people. Coventry has 499 charging points in total when this study was done. Bristol didn't do terribly, but they were quite far behind the best at 26.8. But it was quite normal to be around that number. It's just London, Brighton and Coventry are well ahead of everyone else when it comes to EV charging points. Air quality index. Well, I don't know what this number means. Bristol got 22.2. The worst I could find was Brighton and Hove at 28.7, and the best I could find was Newcastle at 13.5. And the reason why I said I could find is because they didn't actually publish all of the figures for all of the 25 cities for the air quality index. I didn't say who was the best and who was the worst. I just picked the worst I could find that was on there. They might be the worst, they might be the best, I don't know. But apparently less than 50 is good. And all of them that were mentioned for air quality had less than 50. So that doesn't sound bad. However, I went on IQ Air, which is the website they got their data from, and there is actually a warning on there that says PM 2.5, whatever that means, particulate matter, I'm not sure. Apparently that's 1.8 times higher than the WHO, the World Health Organization's recommended guidelines throughout 2021. Vehicles per 1,000 people. So how many cars are there? Bristol, not a huge number actually, 390 cars per 1,000 people. The best was Liverpool, so the least cars, the best, 296, followed by Manchester at 328. So Bristol at 390, there's not actually that many cars compared to the number of people compared to other cities. The worst was Bradford at 659 cars per 1,000 people, followed by Swansea at 645. Percentage of poor roads. So how many roads, or what percentage of roads needs repairing? Bristol did badly. 9.5% of their roads need repairing. Liverpool was worse, 11%. Bradford was a little bit better, but still in the bottom three at 9%. The best, joint best actually, Kingston upon Hull and Sunderland. Both of those had just 1%. And then bus routes, the final category. In Bristol, 148 bus routes. The most bus routes, so the worst, is London at 700, followed by Manchester at 333. Quite a big jump there. Bristol didn't do too badly actually. It's not a huge number of bus routes, but the best with the fewest number of bus routes was Portsmouth at 53. But this study doesn't quite add up. And it's because when you do a study like this, you've got to use the data that's available to you. For example, crashes. London, 2017 to 21. 1,359 crashes in London. In 1 year, they have significantly more crashes than that. In 1 month, I think they have more crashes than that. But how they came to that conclusion, or how they got to that number, was by using a set radius from the centre of the city and seeing how many crashes there were in that circle, that set radius. And they did the same sized radius for all the cities. But I don't think that's the best way to figure out how many crashes there are in the city. I think it should be per population, so per 100,000 people in the population, how many crashes. I guess they didn't use that because that data simply wasn't available. That would be a better metric though. And then bus routes, like, yes, London has 700 bus routes and Portsmouth have only 53. So what? Doesn't mean anything, doesn't matter, because London's massive. You look at the size of London compared to Portsmouth. Of course there are more bus routes because there's a lot more space to have bus routes. So yeah, it's a bit of fun. I wouldn't read too much into this study, but it does give you an idea of what it's like to drive in these different cities. However, I think poor old Bristol, a bit hard done by here. I don't think it's the worst place to drive, or the worst city to drive in the UK. I don't know if this is true, but apparently the reason why they don't put right arrows on the road approaching roundabouts is to prevent people from going the wrong way round the roundabout, particularly people from a country where they're used to driving on the other side of the road and driving the other way round roundabouts. Someone told me this years ago. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but if it is true, I think it's a bad idea. I've done quite a few thousand miles abroad now driving on the other side of the road, and I never feel like going the wrong way round the roundabout, because as you approach the roundabout, the road branches to the side and it just flows round. It's obvious a roundabout, yeah, I've got to go around that. I'm not going to do some awkward turn and sort of try and go over 90-degree turn and go back on myself. It's obvious you don't need to do that. But having arrows on the lanes so I know which lane I need is helpful. Does it mean I never go on the wrong side of the road, or I've never been on the wrong side of the road when I've been abroad and I'm supposed to be driving on the right instead of the left? No, I have been on the wrong side of the road, and most times I go, it probably happens at least once, but it doesn't happen where it's dangerous. It doesn't happen on a busy road where there's traffic, big junctions. It will happen in a car park, in a small village where there is no traffic, no road markings, and I pull out, go on the wrong side of the road because it's just automatic for me, and then realise, go back to the correct side of the road. If there's cars flowing, it's obvious. You can see the traffic. If there's road markings, it's a lot more obvious. If you're afraid about driving abroad and driving on the other side of the road, well, I was too, but when I got there, it wasn't actually that hard. So that's driving in Bristol then. It may have come last in a specific study, but From what I can tell, it's not a challenging place to drive. Yes, it's harder than a small town or village, but for a big city with about 500,000 people, it's not that bad. If you found the video interesting, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're looking for car insurance, check out the links to Collingwood and Confused in the description. If you're learning to drive and want to insure yourself on somebody else's car, then Collingwood are there for you, because you can do so without affecting the owner's policy. So you can drive their car and learn in their car without them worried about you losing their no claims bonus via the link that's up to 35% off and a £20 Amazon gift card. If you want to insure your own car, I recommend checking out the link to confused.com. You fill out one quote form and get loads of quotes back from many insurers to compare who's cheapest. And you can change your car on that quote as many times as you like without having to fill out the whole quote form again. So you can quickly change car to see how much it costs to insure different cars. Really useful if you're thinking about what car you want to buy and you want to know how much it costs to insure it. Using the links doesn't cost you anything, but it does support the channel. So thank you very much. Subscribe to get my future videos. And until the next one, cheerio.